Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again today for the weekly Delta Fishing Report, and this is the report for the week of October 14th. Lots of things going on here on the Delta, but I want to start off with a quick Clear Lake report because last week we talked about the fishing kind of perking up over there, but access was very difficult. I've gotten some reports that the fishing is very good down up in Clear Lake, and again, access is a little sketchy. I'll start off with a report from Hooksets, who is a regular contributor to the program here. And Hooksets was up Clear Lake last week, and he did excellent as far as fishing goes. Not only lots of bass, up to about 5 pounds, but some huge catfish. He took his wife up there, and I guess they had a blast. Hooksets launched from Clear Lake Oaks and got out, got back in, but said that's the last time. It's over for him going up there. Just a little bit sketchy getting in at Clear Lake Oaks. I do understand if you want to go up there that the 5th Street ramp is still open and it's actually safe to launch your boat. So the bottom line is, kayakers, if you get a chance to go up to Clear Lake right now, get up there. The fishing's very good. If you're towing a boat, make sure you call and make sure that you have access at one of the ramps to get in and really check out that 5th Street ramp. So that's Clear Lake. Let's get going on what's happening here on the Delta. And the water temperature is changing pretty dramatically. I was out this morning. Today is Wednesday, and about 7 o'clock in the morning the water was 57 degrees. So it dropped another 3 degrees. That's about 5 or 6 degrees in 1 week. And that, along with, I know Monday and Tuesday we had a weather front come in where the winds were picking up out here from about 30 to 35 miles an hour. It wasn't pleasant. I wasn't out here. I don't think anyone was out here, but I'm out here Wednesday, and I'll give you a report on what I've been doing and what I've been doing last weekend up until the wind came in. First of all, the big deal here on the Delta now is stripers, and it seems like everybody's catching them, and it doesn't matter if you're on the Sacramento side or the San Joaquin side. The stripers are in, and if you are a striper guy, you got to get out here and start fishing now. I talked to Jeff Soo Hoo from Soo Hoo Sport Fishing, and Jeff catches them all the time, so it's almost a discount what he says when he's catching fish, but he's doing really well, and he has been out throwing swim baits and plugging and catching bass. And Jeff said he's really, he's been out here for a long time, and he's seen, runs come and go, and he says it looks like it's shaping up. He's got his fingers crossed for a real good striper season. He's really kind of impressed too with maybe not the size of the fish being great big fish. Most of the fish are in that 22 to 25 inch slot, but they're very healthy fish. They've got a little more girth on them than they have had in the past couple of years, and I've noticed that also with the stripers that I've caught. So that's a good situation here on the Delta. It means there's plenty of food in here and the fish are eating. So all of that's pointing towards a really good striper season. Now, what I've seen here on the Central Delta, if you're on the channel, most guys are trolling. If you're fishing one of the mouths of the sloughs, it seems like guys are either plugging or sitting out there bait fishing. If you get back into the sloughs, most of the guys that I see are bait fishing, and I do see guys catching fish, and I think they're all catching fish. It just depends on the areas that they like to fish and the type of fishing that they're doing. So striper fishing, really good. You got to get out here and give it a try. Also, had a report from Outdoor Sportsman. All the people coming in that are buying bait in there, fishing the local waters around King Island and Paradise Point, the bank fishermen are pulling in fish. So even if you don't have a boat, guys, get out there, grab your rod, get some bait, throw it out there, and you got a really good chance of catching a striper. With that, let's get into the largemouth bass. And as I said before, dramatic differences in water temperature. 57 degrees this morning is actually really chilly this morning. We actually got some sprinkles this morning, and that actually triggered something that we'll talk about here in just a minute. So water temperature holding about 57 degrees. Big windstorm Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, it's perfect conditions out here. There are very few people out here fishing, so the pressure is light. The last couple weeks I've seen quite a bit of pressure out here because guys were either pre-fishing for the Yamamoto tournament or they were fishing for or pre-fishing for the, I believe, the Apex tournament coming off. It's off limits now for the next couple of weeks, so I am expecting very light pressure. Also, for you guys that want to get out this weekend, the weather's going to be really nice. I think in the 70s, maybe even into the 80s. So we still got some time to get out here and catch some fish, but this is the skinny. Don't expect to have long bite periods. What I have seen in the last couple weeks is the bite periods shortening up. And what happened this morning to me when I got out here, and we have a low tide, and that's why I'm doing the report right now. It's dead low tide, and I want to really be fishing when that tide starts moving, because as I got out here about 7 this morning, the fish were not on a big bite. We got just a little bit of something came through and it started sprinkling. You know, a light breeze came up, and man, that really turned the fish on for about 15 minutes. And in that 15-minute period, I caught 7 or 8 fish, along with one nice striper, about I'd say about 5 pounds. Now, out of the 7 or 8 fish I caught, about half of them were dinks, but the other half were between 1.5 pounds and 2 pounds. Not big fish, but fun fish. The deal is, it was a very short bite window. So what I want to get into before I talk about the baits and everything that I was using, if you're coming out here now, as the water temperatures decrease, expect the bite windows to get shorter. So, you know, if you were out a couple weeks ago and that tide started moving and you had 1.5 hours, 2 hours of pretty solid fishing where the bite just continued and continued, I think those are going to shorten up, and as the water temperature drops, they're not only going to shorten up, but they're going to get fewer and farther in between. So if you come out here, stay out here and work at it, and if you see anything, maybe the sun goes behind a cloud, you got a little breeze come up, or there's any kind of cold front or something move in, pay close attention to that, because that could trigger a bite, and it could be a very, 5, 10, 15-minute bite. So just stay on your game and fish out the day, fish through the tide. You should catch a lot of fish. Everybody has been catching fish out here, but one of the complaints is everybody's catching a lot of small fish. And I believe the reason why everyone's catching a lot of small fish and the bigger fish are harder to come by is because there are just so many small fish. The big fish don't have time to get the bait. If you keep on your game, you'll wade through the smaller fish, the smaller fish, the smaller fish, and then you will get a 2.5, 3.5 pound fish. I've been catching fish up to about 3.5 pounds. After 3.5 pounds, they get really few and far between. I've been getting lots of reports where people are picking up a nice fish here. They're up to about 7 or 8 pounds, but they're not putting in big numbers of big fish. The report from Hook, Line, and Sinker says that some of the people that they know that know what's going on out here and are still punching, they're getting the bigger bags. So the punch bite is still on, and if you want bigger fish, you want to continue punching. I've been throwing moving baits, primarily a jerk bait, and that has been my #1 producer for the last couple of weeks. I'm also catching fish on worms. I'm catching fish on crankbaits. I'm catching a few fish on topwaters, although I threw topwaters this morning, and I got 3 hits on a bubble walker, and none of them took the bait. Could be because the fish are a little bit off because of the weather patterns, and possibly by the weekend, those fish that are just coming up looking at the topwaters may be slamming them. I have had reports that guys are catching them on topwater, but it's kind of a day-to-day thing. So you want to keep a topwater on just because you might get a big fish and just because it's fun. But as I said, crankbaits, jerkbaits, and chatterbaits have been my 3 main baits. And I also want to say, because the jerkbait bite is going to continue through the winter, and it's also going to be a good bite for the stripers, I'm uploading a video in about a half an hour. So if you guys are out watching this right away, make sure you check out my YouTube channel, and it's going to be a 4-minute video. It's 4 minutes out of your life. You can't go wrong, and it is a modification that I've been doing on my jerk baits that I believe has really helped me not only hook a lot of fish, or a lot more fish, but land a lot of fish. 4 minutes, look for the video jerkbait modification, and it's something that if you're a jerkbait fisherman, I think you might find really interesting, so make sure you check that video out. With that, that's what's going on out here. I want to get out and start fishing again. I think if this breeze just picks up just a little bit, the topwater bite might start going, and they're really chasing these baits. It's a lot of fun. Wade through the smaller fish and enjoy them. You're going to get some 2 and 3 pound fish. Those fish are hard fighters and they're fun to catch. So with that, make sure you get out here if you got the chance, especially this weekend. We don't have a whole lot of time before the weather sets in and it's going to get cold out here and it's going to be slower fishing. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and until next week, I'll see you guys on the water.